In the 1990s, Cillian Murphy faced a crossroads in life. In one direction, he could go down the road of acting, which he had excelled at in his role as the character Pig in the play Disco Pigs. In the other, he was the guitarist and vocalist of a music group called the Sons of Mr. Green Jeans, who were attracting interest from major record labels. I don't need to tell you which direction he went down, but his story is something that should hopefully inspire people who are still looking to find their own path in life. In 1993, on the streets of Cork, the rock band Emperor of Ice Cream spotted a teenager running towards them. This teenager recognised him and asked him to come see his new band. The band was called the Sons of Mr. Green Jeans, and the cocky teenager running up to people on the street was Cillian Murphy. Cillian's band derived its name from a song by Frank Zappa, a well-known experimental musician and a pioneer of acid jazz. As the name suggests, acid jazz is a mixture of jazz, hip-hop, funk and soul. This music was incredibly popular in the 1980s, but it only caught on in Ireland in the 1990s. Cillian was the guitarist and singer, and the band included his brother Padraig, as well as his childhood friends John Ahern, Chris McCarthy and Bobby Jackson. In an interview with Steve Lamacq, Cillian said, "Do you remember the sort of early mid-90s when acid jazz was a big thing? That was a big influence on us. I think being in Cork in Ireland, we were probably a bit late to the party with that sound." Looking at local newspaper archives, the earliest information about the Sons of Mr. Green Jeans appears in the Belfast Telegraph in June 1995, when Cillian was 19 years of age. The band was scheduled to play a music venue known as the Front Page on Donegal Street in Belfast city centre. At 19, Cillian was also, in his own words, foolishly pursuing a law degree at University College Cork, or UCC. Music was Cillian's biggest passion at the time. However, his love of acting was lurking in his background. When he was in school, he attended a module taught by Pat Kiernan, who was the head of a theatre production called Corcadorca. This opened Cillian's eyes up to the notion of acting, and his English teacher also encouraged him to pursue it. Cillian's passion for acting would be reawakened in December 1995. He went to see a theatre adaptation of the well-known book and movie A Clockwork Orange at Sir Henry's nightclub. Directing this play was Pat Kiernan, the very person who inspired Cillian's initial love of acting many years before. It was this theatre performance, which was bizarrely staged in a nightclub, that truly awakened Cillian's passion for acting. Cillian would soon start pestering Pat for auditions. Cillian also made use of his time as a student and joined UCC's Drama Society. This society staged the Frank McGuinness play, The Sons of Ulster Marching Towards the Somme, and Cillian's first role was in this play. Interestingly, the comedian Des Bishop also starred in this production as a student. Cillian's band would continue to grow and receive praise from local newspapers. A review in the Evening Echo, a Cork newspaper, said, "Sons of Mr. Green Jeans are the first acid jazz band I've heard out of Cork, and they were superb at the opening of Cabaret Deluxe last Sunday." For this review, it was not Cillian who was the star, but their bassist Chris McCarthy. The article says, "Their bass player has to be seen and heard to reconcile the seeming contradiction of old, experienced fingers on such a young face. Groovesters par excellence." Outside of Cork, the group was receiving recognition from people in the acid jazz genre, including a record label. Acid Jazz Records in London had asked for a demo tape. Another newspaper article read, "Groovy from the Sons of Mr. Green Jeans, the finest band of its kind in the South. A superb blend of funk, rock and Frank Zappa. Good feeling new beats from a killer crew. Just completed a demo for the Acid Jazz label and terrific performances at Guinness in the city." This was in reference to the Guinness Cork Jazz Festival, which still takes place every year. Around the same time, Corcadorca were producing a new play written by Enda Walsh, who was gaining a lot of hype off the back of his debut play, The Ginger Ale Boy. The play was called Disco Pigs and featured two characters, Runt and Pig. Like how the characters in A Clockwork Orange spoke in a highly exaggerated Northern English accent, the characters in Disco Pigs spoke in a highly exaggerated, almost unintelligible Cork accent. Enda Walsh, who comes from Dublin, wanted to create characters with a Cork accent that not even people from Cork could understand. Cillian auditioned and got the part. The fact that he was relatively new to acting and completely nailed the audition was a sign that Cillian had serious talent in acting. While his first passion was in music, this was an opportunity he clearly needed to pursue and see where it went. Disco Pigs was originally performed at the Triskel Arts Centre in Cork, followed by the International Bar in Dublin as part of the Dublin Theatre Festival. While the Sons of Mr. Green Jeans received reasonably good praise from the newspapers, the reviews for Disco Pigs were sensational. Disco Pigs went on to win Best Show at the Dublin Theatre Festival. A review in the Irish Examiner said, "It is the best 1 hour, 2 player show you're likely to see before the millennium." After Disco Pig's successful run, Cillian continued working with his band. In an interview for the Irish Examiner, Cillian mentions that the band was visited by Eddie Pillar, the founder and manager of Acid Jazz Records. The article happened to mention that the whole band were college students, with the exception of his brother Padraig, who was doing his Leaving Cert, which is the final exam in Irish schools. In an interview with the Irish Times in 2017, Cillian said about the Leaving Cert, "There are kids who really suffer mentally and feel under such intense pressure because of the bottleneck of a point system we've developed. So you can imagine the stress Padraig was under while doing these exams, but also performing quite regularly with this band." However, this article also addresses the crossroads in front of Cillian. It reads, "But consider if you'll be the double choice in front of Cillian, guitarist and vocalist with the band, who is now also suddenly part of an award-winning theatre team." The article, perhaps naively, also assumed that Cillian still cared about his law degree at this stage. Well, it looks likely that for him, as for all of the band, it's going to be a double life for the moment, working at their studies while allowing their artistic talent to grow on stage until they want to choose their moment. Cillian just may have to make that other choice between music and theatre. It'll be an interesting year. While the acting career seemed like the most positive outcome, an article in the Evening Echo in March 1997 revealed that not one, but 2 record labels were interested. And it seems as if Sons of Mr. Green Jeans are about to hit things big also. The Acid Jazz Band are presently under the watchful eye of 2 top London record labels. Although it's not clear exactly when, the Sons of Mr. Green Jeans were offered a record deal from Acid Jazz Records, and not just any deal. This one involved 5 albums. However, there were some difficulties with this deal. First of all, Cillian's brother Padraig was still in school. Secondly, they were offered quite a low figure, and with this low figure, Acid Jazz Records wanted complete ownership of their recordings. While a lot of bands would simply jump at the idea of having a record deal, not all of them are as cracked up as they seem to be. This deal was turned down. In August 1997, Disco Pigs played at the Edinburgh Festival in Scotland, which is the biggest arts festival in the world. There were 1,278 productions that year, all with the same hopes of making it big. A review of Disco Pigs in The Independent read, "Enda Walsh has written 2 cracking parts for his young cast. Cillian Walsh, no relation, tempers Run's toughness with an endearing brittleness. As Pig, Cillian Murphy displays a combination of feral aggression, raw vulnerability and Celtic good looks that will inevitably bring Ewan McGregor comparisons." The Edinburgh show did really well, and this was a turning point. According to Enda Walsh, within 2 years we travelled the world. I think all of us felt that our careers, our lives in theatre, had started at that moment. Bang! Disco Pigs would embark on a tour of Europe, Canada and Australia for these 2 years. An easy decision for Cillian was to drop out of college. However, a much tougher decision was for him to leave the band. The last gig I could find for the Sons of Mr. Green was in December 1997. From there on, it was clear which path Cillian had chosen. Although making music was Murphy's first love, he believes that his pursuit of acting in the end was the right decision. In his Steve Lamacq interview, he said, "It's such a treacherous industry. With all the lads that I was in the band with, we're such good friends now, and I don't know if that would have actually stayed the case if we had been put through the jaws of the music industry as youngsters. I know lots of lads that went through that, and it was pretty traumatic for them if they didn't make it. So I'm happy with my lot, Steve. I can't complain. I'm very glad in retrospect that we didn't sign, because you kind of sign away your life to a label and the whole of your music." As well as that, he felt that acting was where his real talent lay. "There was a period in my 20s when I wondered what things would have been like, but I quickly realised that there was a ceiling on my ability as a singer, songwriter and musician. I looked at other bands and other musicians and I realised I wasn't in that league, so that made me feel less sad about it. I don't think the world is lacking my music. It's so long ago now, it wasn't such an outrageous thing to do. It was just figuring out your path in life." So, Cillian Murphy is a field rock star, but had the career of a Hollywood movie star to fall back on. I suppose the only lesson us mere mortals can take from this is that sometimes the obvious route and the thing we are most passionate about is not always the best option. With acting, Cillian found something that hit the sweet spot, where it was something he excelled at, but also something he was deeply passionate about too.
Thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe to support the channel.